all these places that are mentioned in the Bible, and you're there, you're where Jesus was, where he was crucified, where he, was in agony.
It stirs up so much emotion that is so powerful. It's something that's going to stay in all of our hearts forever.
It's truly amazing how such a small country such as Armenia commands so much respect and power in the Holy Land.
People have been talking about comparisons between Jerusalem and the Holy Land versus being in Armenia. The only way I can possibly compare the two is saying that while the experiences I had in Armenia were very powerful and very deep, I felt those in my heart. And the experiences I've had here in Jerusalem, I felt in my soul.
On our first day of our journey, we visited the Virgin Mary's Church, and that was a really great way to start the day. Sarpazan Hire had asked me to direct the choir. I had never directed a choir before, but I was ready to take on the challenge. Just to be given the opportunity to do that in that place, I'm very grateful for that, and I won't forget this experience.
Young people on the trip with me, they were deacons on the altar. We all formed a chorus together, and it was such a unifying experience.
To be able to partake in an Armenian Badarak with all these people who I don't really know yet, but we had a shared experience, and that was really great.
I met so many people here, and I grew so much stronger with them.
Even though we're from different parishes, we live in different cities, we still come together and we created a family.
As we were exiting the city of Jerusalem, we went through a tunnel, and literally in the snap of a finger, we were transported to a desert. Very little green area, and lots of hills and rough terrain. And it was amazing to think that not only Jesus had crossed this several times or been in this desert several times, but Armenians have been crossing this desert for almost 2,000 years to come to this place and walk where we are all walking today.
It was really, really hot, and when I was out there, I caught myself thinking, oh, it's so hot, it's so awful, it's so unbearable, and it's so ridiculous that I'm complaining about being out here for a couple hours when Jesus was out here for 40 days. So that was a pretty cool revelation I had personally about Jesus' strength and how I can call upon him in tough situations to bring myself up and take a little bit of his strength and use it in myself.
My dad went to Jerusalem in 1972, and before leaving on my pilgrimage in this year, 2011, he said to me that one thing that you'll always remember from this trip, other than the experiences that you have and the people that you meet, is you'll have a moment when it hits you, and that you cry, and that you finally feel what everybody comes home saying that they felt. And for me, that was when I went to the Church of the Holy Sepulcher and really felt what it was like to be in that time period of Christ.
Church of the Holy Sepulcher houses three main parts of Jesus' life. One of them is Golgotha, and this is where his cross stood in the ground. We had the opportunity to come down and actually kiss that place, which is incredible. And we continued downstairs, and there we saw the slab where they laid Jesus' body, and then further toward the left half of the church is his tomb.
We entered the church at 4 in the morning, ready for Badarak. We went up a beautiful wrought iron staircase that was filled with a lot of Christian and Armenian imagery with Armenian letters engraved everywhere, and we got to see that the Armenian identity has a very, very strong presence in this place that is so important to people all over the world.
Being there and singing Bararak and coming together was such an amazing experience. One of my favorite moments was being able to walk and touch Christ's tomb. I just had enough time to kneel down and say the Haimer, and there was a connection, there was emotion. I felt right, I felt at home.
We as Christians tend to fall away from Christ, and yet when you're standing there at his tomb singing Der Vormia, it's just complete humility.
We had the pleasure of meeting Aso Tavitian, and he's the benefactor of our trip. And he told us a very touching story about how when he was growing up, he had a teacher in his life that made it possible for him to become the man that he is today. And it kind of moved me. It just brought to life the idea that I want to do what he does. I know that in the future, in some way, shape, or form, you will see that every single one of us will try to give back the way he gives to so many Armenians.
Personally, I'm just extremely pleased to have had the opportunity, and I do look at it as an opportunity to do this. I'm just interested in helping younger Armenians find their roots, their identity, and of course the visit here, seeing them, it just confirms what I was hoping that will happen.
Touring the Armenian Patriarchate was a really nice experience because it showed us really the center of the Armenian culture in Jerusalem. And I think something that I wasn't expecting was seeing how people who are Armenian and live here in Jerusalem see this as their cultural home, their religious home, and their place where they can come and celebrate all the great things that Armenians do here.
Meeting the Patriarch was a great experience because when he was a primate in America, everything that he did then created a better diocese for when I was a kid at church and to this day as well. And on top of that, I've been on the altar for at least 10 years now, and the subdeacon and deacon books that I use were made by him, and his name was on the front page, so it was an awesome experience actually meeting the man who created it all.
And I walked in, I kind of had chills on my back, and seeing where the leader of the Armenians in a different community, in a different country lives is just an incredible experience.
Seeing him and hearing from all the people throughout my life about how great of a leader he was in our diocese and how great of a leader he has been as the Patriarch of Jerusalem. It was a privilege to present him with a check the ACYOA gives every year to the Patriarch for $1,000.
Walk steadfastly. You are adding to new joy by visiting the Holy Land, praying in the holy places. God bless you.
After visiting the Patriarchate Center, we also attended service at St. James Cathedral. It was just a beautiful service, and the local seminarians were there, seeing everyone participate all at once, and you can tell that they're emotionally there.
One of the things we got to do here in Jerusalem was meet the Armenian young community. That was really inspiring to see that they're so well connected with each other, and the fact that they were so open to us and treated us like we were at home and we were part of them. We sang with them, we danced with them, and it just really made me happy to see that their bond is so strong.
What became apparent is that it's a first step at building bridges between the Holy Land, Jerusalem, and our diocese, and the young people to get to know each other better.
When we were at Bethlehem, we walked in and they were doing evening services. There were tours all around looking at us, and just the only thing that I could think of is how beautiful our service is.
And everybody, in their own way, they were loud with their silence. They were silenced in reverence, they were silenced in their awe of seeing this very spiritual place, and to say that I've been there, to say that I've bowed down, to say that I've kissed the star where he's been born is just one of those things that I'm going to take back and never forget for the rest of my life.
We had an opportunity to go on the roof of the Armenian monastery, and the ability to just look out at this city, and it was a moment when it was quiet, and it was a good time for me to visualize what it might be like back in the time when Jesus was born.
One of the most inspiring things that we've seen so far has been going to the Church of the Lord's Prayer, or the High Church in Armenian. It's a church that celebrates when Jesus gave the Lord's Prayer to his disciples, and we were able to go down into the cave where that actually happened, and we sang the High together, and it was so cool to think that we recite that prayer lots of times at home, but doing it here was just like everything came full circle, and it was a really nice moment.
One of the places we visited was the Jordan River. It's at the end of the day, and I know everybody was tired, and we got there, and as we sang, it was just like a very beautiful and pure moment that uplifted me, and then everybody entering into the river that Jesus was baptized in, to stand there and appreciate and imagine him being here. It was a very special moment.
As we approached the Sea of Galilee, all I saw was pure beauty. On the boat, we read a passage about Jesus on the Galilee with his disciples when a storm hit, and the disciples had to wake him up, and he calmed the storm. We then took a moment to think about the storms in our own lives and how we turn to Jesus for help to calm the storms.
We've been seeing examples of strong leadership and learning how to make our own ideas of leadership stronger. One of the things that's really impacted me has been our talking about how to make ourselves better leaders by helping to understand the people that we're trying to lead and trying to serve with. It's up to us, the Armenian youth, to continue that tradition and to keep our ties strong within our own community so that we can continue to represent it with such power and such strength in the future.
It gives me even more inspiration to go back home to my parish in Detroit and to use the experiences and the words of wisdom from others. We're here together, and I want to work together once we go home.
With these Bible studies that we've been doing, brings everyone who has a very different perspective to share their thoughts, and it's something I really like.
This trip, in my opinion, has put Jesus' earthly ministry in perspective. I think it's important for all of us to go home and spread awareness about Jerusalem because of our deep, rich history here. And I think it's important for other Armenian Americans to support our presence here.
The most rewarding experience that I've had here is just being able to say with no hesitation at all that I am Christian, I am Armenian, and I am very comfortable with my faith now.
And words can't even explain how breathtaking everything was and how much I appreciate it all, and I'm so proud to be an Armenian.
As I look at you, I see the future of the Armenian Church, the future of the Armenian Church in America. I hope you will always carry Jerusalem with you. I hope that our pilgrimage will leave an enduring mark on your continuing life's journey.